1 second.
Yes, Doctor, you can make King Justin also a co-host so that he can also co-present with you. You can also make me co-host so that we can also assist as we continue from the background.
Sure.
Thank you. You are the host.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I really apologize for the delays. So let's go. So today we are getting. Last week we did background into drones. It's not a teaching today. Today is a conversation we are trying to have. There are no teachers here. All of us are learners. We are just trying to feed ourselves. So I would like to call 2 persons who were with us last week to do a recap of what we did last week so that we can continue from there. Please, anybody who is inspired, can you recall what we learned last week?
You want?
Yes, who is taking the floor, please?
Yes, you can just raise your hand so that we can continue smoothly so that we can all participate.
Maybe you can continue, Prince Justin, because we have less time.
Okay. I'm not very happy that nobody could not recall what we did last week. So maybe we are just going to waste another 1 hour today. So please, we should take our notes.
No, I can just give a brief of the recall, King. We learned about the use of drones, which are piloted, which are used and they are effective, and that they are cost saving in agriculture when they are using, whether in scouting, whether in mapping up, whether in spraying, or in controlling pests and diseases in agriculture for farms. That's a short I can just give, and this is available across Africa, and also farmers can hire these, and they need a special training for you to be able to operate. And in different countries, you need to register to have the authority to operate these drones within your farms, or you can hire them outside your country or within your country, whatever which is more available to you. Thank you, my king. You can proceed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Not to waste our time, today we are introducing ourselves to drone pilot. So for us to be able to pilot a drone, it's very important for us to know what is a drone. Because many times when we talk about drones, people think about the military. But now we have to know what is a drone. So to me, a drone is known as an unmanned area vehicle. So we say it is an unmanned area vehicle. So you could have military vehicles that are self-piloted. They are drones. Because sometimes when we talk about drones, people feel they will always fly. No. You can have cars that you can remote control those cars. So they call them drones. That's why we call them unmanned area vehicles. These are vehicles that they can go on remote control. You don't need somebody to drive them.
No.
And why are those vehicles very important now? Because it reduces the risk. In times of war, if you were to send the army to go and combat, if they go physically in the vehicle, they may be attacked. But if the vehicle is remote controlled, if it is attacked, nobody is killed. So it comes back to us in the agricultural industry. Initially, we used to have the helicopters on our plantations, spraying chemicals. Sometimes 2 pilots on board, sometimes 3 pilots on board. But what happens if there is an accident? You lost the life of these pilots, and it becomes very expensive for the plantation. So now we are replacing those helicopters with drones so that they are unmanned. Or sometimes you call them unmanned aircraft systems, UAS. So those are drones. It is an aircraft without a human pilot on board. Drones are typically controlled remotely by pilots on ground or autonomously through pre-programmed flight paths and navigator systems. So we are learning today that drones can be remote controlled. Some of them can be pre-programmed. So those are some of the possibilities. Now we want to look at some key characteristics when we are talking about drones. What are we expecting to see? What are we expecting to know? One of the key things you see with a drone, there is a remote control. Drones are operated using a remote control device or a ground-based control station, allowing the pilot to maneuver the aircraft from distance. So like I said earlier, we do not need to go on board to be able to fly the drones. You can fly it from wheresoever you are. Another characteristic is that they are autonomous flights. Some drones are equipped with autonomous flight capabilities, enabling them to fly predetermined routes, following specific commands or perform automated tasks without direct human interventions. So most of the drones now, they are pre-programmed to do the work you want them to do. That's why we are talking about precision. Okay, please mute your microphone, please. Thank you. That's why we are talking about precision agriculture. Because as humans, we can always commit errors. It could be as a result of tiredness, it could be as a result of overtime. But now, since it is pre-programmed, it will do the job just as you have demanded the drone to do. Versatility. Drones are versatile too. Drones come in various shapes, size, and configurations, designed for different purposes, such as aerial photos, videography, surveillance, mapping, delivery, agriculture, and research. So many times when we talk about drones, we have seen drones in combat. We remember drones in combat. And last week, we established that Africans, we are facing a lot of problems because many of the countries, when we talk about drones, they feel we are bringing drones in their countries to spy, we are bringing drones to create problems, but they fail to look at these other components which we are enlisting. They are good at doing photography, like we said. They are not only good at war, they are good for surveillance. Those who are into mining, sometimes you need to go deep into the forest, you need to go deep into the high seas to survey. You can use those drones. You use them for mapping. You can use them as well for delivery. DHL is already using a lot of drones in delivery. In Rwanda, I think we are already delivering vaccines with drones. I think similar thing is happening in Kenya. So we should not think that we can only use drones to do wars as we have known before. No. We also use them a lot for research. Now there are so many drones that you can use in research, especially those in mining, to be able to determine which kind of minerals are under the earth, to be able to determine which kind of minerals are inside the deep oceans. You can use those drones to make those kind of research. Something you need to know when you go for a drone, you need to find out what is the payload. How much capacity is the drone going to carry? Because if you know the payload of your drone, you can know what it's supposed to carry. So drones can carry payloads such as cameras, sensors, communication devices, and other equipment to perform specific functions or tasks during flights. So you can always attach payloads to your drone to perform different tasks. Like I said, you use some for logistics. So those who use for logistics, you want to transport maybe vaccines, you want to transport seeds, depending on what you want to do, the drone will now come with those specifications. That's why many a times when I talk to people, they ask me, how do I buy a drone? What is the cost of a drone? So from now, you can now see that your drone will be determined by which kind of activities you are seeking to do before we can now tell you that this specific drone can do this particular task. So the prices will vary according to those tasks that you are supposed to be performing. 5, you have cross propulsion systems. Drones are powered by electric motors, gas engines, or other propulsion systems that enable them to generate lift and thrust for controlling flights. So there are two terms we want to learn here, lift and thrust. That is what moves the drone, taking it up, bringing it down. We use those ones to perform flights. 6, a navigation system. We agreed that a drone is an aircraft, so it needs a navigation system. And for you to be able to navigate, drones are equipped with GPS, gyroscopes, accelerometers, and other sensors to maintain stability. Navigate in different environments and execute flights maneuver accurately. So for you to be able to maneuver your drone well, you will need these parameters. And so when you go to buy a drone, those are some of the considerations you have to check if you have those components. Then there is a safety feature. Modern drones are equipped with safety features such as obstacles avoidance sensors, return to home function. For those who are walking in the forest, it may go towards a mountain, but there are sensors there that will already tell you, because sometimes you may lose sight of the drone. But since it has an obstacle sensors, it sends back a message to the control board that it is going towards this obstacle, so you can move it away from that direction. It has returned to home function. Maybe the battery is finished. There's a possibility that it will always come back to the start point so that you can change the battery or recharge it again. Fail-safe mechanisms and geofencing to prevent accidents and ensure safe operations. Once you set to do your flight, I was telling some farmers, it's not like the regular drones that we go and do our photos in the city. No, these are giant aircrafts. Some of them will have a payload of 100 kilograms. It means it can carry 100 liters of water to go and spray. So you need to always geofence where you are doing your job. And in most cases, like we explained in last week, you need to do that in collaboration with the Civil Aviation Authority, because you are going to be interfering with the airspace. So in many big operations, you need to get the approval of the Civil Aviation Authority of that country. They need to know that you will be flying at this area from this time to this time, because there may be other flight activities within those areas, so that you do not interfere with their own operations. Now, we want to ask ourselves, what are some of the benefits of using drones? Now, you see the kind of images people are taking. You see the kind of maps people are drawing. I was telling somebody that it's possible now to map 1 hectare of a farm just in less than 10 minutes, and you have a site map produced by this drone, but opposed to traditional ways of doing it, where you will see people go to the field with big equipment, they have to take the measurements, then they have to come back to the laboratory, they have to draw out the maps, and in the course of doing all these things, There are bound to be human errors. But with the drone, you avoid human errors. You save time. You have beautiful images. And then you can take from different angles. Because if you are going with a manual camera, you may be standing at a position that you are unable to see the other part of that plot. But with a drone, it's able to fly to every angle and tend to so many directions to be able now to show you with precision how this particular terrain looks like. We are talking about surveying and mapping. Drones have become very famous now in surveying and mapping as opposed to our traditional surveying and mapping systems. They were not only time wasting, they were expensive, they were requiring a lot of labor. But now you see one pilot or maybe two pilots are able to do a farm of 100 hectares in less than 5 days. But if you were to do this with the normal traditional ways of doing it, you have to hire a team of experts that will have to carry heavy equipment, and maybe they'll have to stay for 1 month just to do the same task. And you can imagine how much you will spend in terms of money. Now, you can equally use drones for search and rescue operations. Like I said, police, for example, there is a problem somewhere, maybe their car cannot reach there. A drone will be able to access those places at a very fast and shorter time, at a very lower cost. And since our business is agriculture, we want to equally establish that in agriculture, you can use a drone to monitor your farm, to spray your farm, to lift luggages, because we have farms that are far off. Maybe sometimes to remove crops from there, it becomes difficult. You can use them equally to distribute seeds. You can use them to broadcast seeds. You can use them to survey your farms. So you see, drone is virtually taking over everything that we are doing. In precision agriculture, you have drones that will be able to map, let's say, 1 hectare of farm. It tells you there are 35,000 stems of maize in this field, and it can give a digital ID to each of these crops. So you see now you are telling a buyer with precision that I have 10,000 stems of cocoa in my field. And this same drone is capable of telling you that this number of trees are infected by this particular disease. And you can only go and apply the chemical that is needed to control that disease, as opposed to what we used to do with our traditional helicopter. What you do is, if there is a disease, you just want to spray the whole field. So there is wastage because you are not sure of which crop is affected. But with a drone, it's capable of telling you this or that crop is affected, and this particular disease is affecting this crop. So you can handle it with the required chemicals that are needed. Environmental monitoring. We can equally use drones to monitor the environment. Now, we are going to look at what are the composition of a drone. What are the components that makes up a drone? A drone is sitting in a frame. If you saw the picture I shared, the initial picture, you see frame that the drone is sitting on it. There are propellers. Propellers are the wings that helps it to fly. There is a motor. A motor is the one that drives it. And there is a flight controller, which in most cases, you, the pilot, you are holding the flight controller, and it has a battery. Some other drones, they are using other kind of fuels, but many drones now are using battery that you can always change. So most of the times you go to the field, they have a generator that will charge the battery. Once this one is getting off, you can always change. And now we set cameras, if applicable. In many countries in Africa, they don't want to accept the drone because of the cameras. Most of the drones, they have sophisticated cameras So many countries feel that when you use those drones, you are going to tap into some kind of sensitive information of the country that people have been keeping it for different reasons. Maybe it could be for cultural reasons, maybe it could be for security reasons. But when people start using drones with this kind of high resolution cameras, they are able to dictate all these kind of informations. Now, I think we are getting to the last section of our discussion today.
Okay. I just wanted to say that, yeah, it is just about 6 o'clock. So do you want to wind it up or so?
Yes, I'm wrapping up.
Yeah, thank you.
Just in less than 2 minutes. I'm wrapping up. Yeah, thank you.
So
Getting
are we going
standards
to the
with
next slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So getting standards with drone piloting. Choose the right drone for your needs. So it's always good. I was telling people, camera drones, everybody can get a drone. Toy drones, everybody can get a drone. But this kind of drones, it needs an expert to go with you. Understand the drones terminologies. There are some terminologies that you need to understand to be able to maneuver the drone. Register your drone if required. In most countries, like I said, you have to register it with the Civil Aviation Authority so that if there is a problem, they will know from where the problem is coming from. Thank you very much. I think that was what we prepared today. If we have questions, let's open the floor and take some questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prince Justin. I think it was very informative. I attended for the first time and I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much. Yes, we have a question from Atikar Sadak Ambassador Dr. Agnes. Please go ahead, open your mic and speak.
Thank you very much for the deliberations. My question is, you said that all these drones, we use remote control. So I just want to know how fast should somebody be with the remote to sort of like operate the drone?
Dr. Inuka, can you rephrase our question?
Yes, it is a very technical question and very good question. How far the range is of the remote control of the drone?
Thank you very much. Like I said in the presentation, it would depend on your specifications. If you tell me you want to deliver goods, you want to deliver mails, in terms of 2 hours flight, we can always configure a battery system that will permit you to fly this long.
So I understand that the operator does not
I don't
need
think my
to be.
question, it hasn't been answered well.
Yeah.
I don't think it has been answered well.
Let me just elaborate. They are with the remote control, so the operator does not need to be just nearby the drone because they have a payload. They are programmed to do particular thing. So for example, if they are used for delivery of something, then they are programmed to go to that location and come back, return back within that time, and the enough fuel is there. And so the payload decides on all that, and that is the specification given to it, feed into the drone, and so it will do what is required to be done. And so I don't think operator needs to be there within very near vicinity of it. That is what I think I understand from the answer. Is anything that
Okay,
clear?
thank you very much. So yes, I've understood that the drones are programmed. So,
Yes.
they sort of like, I've understood. But then when they said that we use remote control, so I was confused that, okay, now, if it's going to that specific area, so how far? But now you have explained to me that no, they are programmed. We don't need a remote control then.
Yes, it is not something like, you have a remote control on your car and you need to be within some distance of the car. It is not like that. They are programmed, and this payload is exactly doing what it is asked to be done.
Thank you, Dr. Renuka, for that information.
Thank
The
you very much,
network.
Doctor. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Anyone else want to ask any question?
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This is George Wagawa. What I wanted to know is actually it depends on the cost of the drone, as in agriculture. If you are using a drone in agriculture, as in can it do as in like spraying? Does it have that capacity to do spraying?
To do what? I understood that you are asking the cost. And what else?
The cost, yes, and then other work like
Spraying.
Spraying?
Yeah, yes, I said in the beginning, the cost depends on which activities you want to do. We have a drone now currently that has 10 liters hectares in 1 hour. We have another drone that have 32 liters. It will do 50 hectares an hour. We have 72 liters. We have 100 liters. So we need to map the project you are doing before we are able to say which particular drone you will use. And one of the most used feature in drones is the spraying you are talking about. If you use the hand sprayer to spray 1 hectare of land, it is calculated that 10 men will do that in 1 day. But a drone will do, a small drone with just 10 liters will do a minimum of 7 hectares in 8 hours. So it's very effective, and you'll be able to give the same quantity of application to all the crops as you have prescribed. But you cannot do that manually. You always have to omit some of the crops because maybe when you stop here, you want to go and refill the tank and come back. You come back, you could not remember where you stopped. You have to skip. But with a drone, it does not, because everything has been programmed. It knows the number of crops that are there. It knows the amount of chemical that is needed per crop. You do just as you have programmed it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Dr. Agnes, again, please. And then afterward, Robert.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm just wondering, these drones, which country is manufacturing it, and in Africa, how do we purchase them?
You can ask your purchase right away. We have a lot of drones in Cameroon. We have drones in Nigeria. We have a lot of drones in Rwanda. We have drones everywhere in Africa, everywhere. Most of the huge plantations that, like in my country, we're using a helicopter, we are replacing them with drones. So everywhere now, there are drones. There are no helicopters again. So if you need drones, you can always
I'm just wondering. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, where are they getting them from? Which country is manufacturing them? Which one? Which country?
China, India, USA, Japan. We are already manufacturing drones too in Nigeria. We have a factory in Nigeria. We are doing some drones there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Robert.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Very interesting, great technology. So much solutions to our farmers and, and other purposes. I've also seen Nairobi, Kenya, some drones being used for weddings, do some video recording or even taking pictures. So it's wonderful to dig deeper and learn. My question is on the side of the tutor mentioned that you need an authority or a license to be approved by Civil Aviation Authority in whatever country you are in, so that you do not really interfere with, once you're in the airspace, so that you do not interfere with the other flights. Now, we all know that when a flight is cruising, it's probably at, sorry, I have a cold. It's probably at 30,000 feet high when it's on a cruising level, 30,000 to 42,000 feet high, if I'm not wrong. How high does the drone go when, it's doing its work, or rather when it's programmed to go and deliver or do whatever it's doing, or spraying up high? Up how many feet does it fly? Is it a standard height that reaches, start doing the work, or it depends on how high you program it? So that's one. And maybe two, when it's time for landing, especially for the drones that do deliveries, we know when you're flying a plane, then there's a runway and you are cleared by the flight dispatchers to land. But these drones, you can deliver something probably in the CBD. How do you make sure it does not hit an obstacle, that it delivers whatever it needs to deliver, or it's all programmed? You can probably explain that also further. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I start with the last one. Once you send a drone to deliver a parcel, you have sent a drone to deliver a parcel in your home. Your home has been mapped. That's why we talked about geofencing. Your home has been mapped and it has been embedded into the flight itinerary. The drone will come directly to your location and it will hover around your home. It's not going to land. It will come and hover around your home and you can just pick out your parcel and it will move away. The next question was how high? For agricultural drones, we are recommended that you should be able to fly at the height of 50 meters. You know, there are aircrafts like within the national territories, national local flights that do not go to 35,000 above sea level like you are talking about. Sometimes they are flying at base. So you see you are competing with them because all the sensors, they are interfering with each other. So it is usually important, especially around the cities where there are airports, that you always understand that you should not go this high above 50 meters. And even if you must do that, there should be an authority from the Civil Aviation Authority that is checking the airspace. And how do you have your permission? You need to be trained first as a pilot. Then you can present your license to the Civil Aviation Authority. Then they will give you a license and they will instruct you on restricted areas in the country where you can fly and where you cannot fly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we should wind up now today because I think we have to go for another meeting. So thank you very much for all your attention today. And I thank you, the trainer and the host, especially for doing this good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And maybe
you.
Justin, you can write your email address so that people can reach you out if they have any query regarding this.
Great. I'm dropping
in the chat, please. And then we can close.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I'll stop
Thank
the
you so much
recording.
for. Yes, thank you so much for the training, for this information. I would want to thank you, the facilitators, for this vital information. Yes, we'll need your email and the other contacts, maybe on our WhatsApp group, that the training group that we have, so that we can also chat, or you can direct me so that I can have the details. Yes, if they are there, that's fine. Thank you, everybody, for taking time to this training. And this training is going to be there every Sunday at the same time, which is going to be brought by One Map Africa. So please, let's meet again next Sunday, same time, same station. and we will have an hour of this
And
again
Simon,
as
you're,
we continue with the training.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes, my queen, can you just come?
I don't know. Can you come in a bit, King Simon?
Okay, thank you everybody for taking time to be on this One Map Africa Agriculture Training. We hope next week we will be here again and we'll be more, as we are going to ask you to bring a friend. And don't forget, please, to join our WhatsApp group for any other postings and learning that you might require, and whatever questions that you might want to ask, even after this training, please, you are open from that chat group. Have a good evening, have a good night, have a good afternoon, have a good morning, wherever you are in the world. Have a good day. Thank you.
Seven. You rejoin the 6 participants in the